is at 8 a.m., 1:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. on CVM TV.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yeah.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
For joining us for CVM News at Noon. It's Thursday, May 21, 2026. I'm Akeem Arrect. A 63-year-old shopkeeper of Georgia District in Cascade is now facing wounding charges for stabbing his 55-year-old brother in the neck on Monday. The accused has been identified as Hubert Christie. Reports are that about 8 p.m. on Monday, both brothers were among other persons standing in the Cascade Square when an argument developed between them. During the confrontation, Christie pulled a ratchet knife, which he used to inflict stab wounds to the neck of his younger brother. The wounded man was rushed to the Noel Holmes Hospital in Lucy, Hanover, where he was treated and admitted in serious condition. A report was made to the police, and following an investigation, Christie was taken into custody on Tuesday. A Westmoreland man has been charged after he reportedly assaulted a taxi operator and threatened him with a homemade firearm during a dispute in Truro, Westmoreland on Saturday. 42-year-old Jermaine Hall, otherwise called Prezi of Truro District, in the Frome Policing Division was charged with assault at common law and possession of an illegal firearm with intent to injure. Reports are that about 5 p.m., the taxi operator visited his wife's home in Truro when an argument developed. Hall, who is the woman's baby father, reportedly intervened, assaulted the man, and threatened him with a homemade firearm. The taxi operator reportedly escaped and made a report to the Frome police station. Hall was later arrested and charged following investigations. Still in Westmoreland, detectives attached to the Savlamar Center for Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse, Sissoka branch, have arrested and charged a man for allegedly raping a 13-year-old girl at his home in Darliston community on Sunday night. The accused has been identified as 22-year-old Timoy Smith of Orange Hill District in the parish. Reports are that about 8:30, the accused made arrangements via WhatsApp with the 13-year-old girl. The alleged victim reportedly went to the location where Smith reportedly asked her to have sexual intercourse with him, in which she refused. Smith reportedly forcefully had intercourse with the teen. Her actions raised suspicions from one of her relatives, who searched her cell phone and discovered the WhatsApp messages with Smith. The relative questioned the teen, who informed her that Smith forcefully had sex with her. Investigations were carried out, and Smith was taken into custody and subsequently charged. He is scheduled to appear before the Westmoreland Parish Court early next week. Detectives at the Little London Police Station in Westmoreland are investigating the motives surrounding the chopping death of a tractor operator at his home in Retreat community on Wednesday morning. Dead is 40-year-old Vinroy Holness, who is known to be a popular tractor operator in the area. Reports are that about 2:30, Holness, along with his teenage son and other family members, were asleep when a man armed with a machete kicked open the front door. The intruder reportedly then attacked Holness and chopped him multiple times. His son, who managed to escape their attacker, ran from the house and raised an alarm. The intruder then fled from the house and escaped. The police were later summoned, and upon arrival, Holness, who was discovered with multiple chop wounds to his upper body, was rushed to hospital where he later died. In other news now, a floral tribute was held on Wednesday in honor of the victims of the Eventide home fire as Jamaica observed the National Day of Remembrance for those who lost their lives in the 1980 tragedy. The event held at National Heroes Park paid respect to more than 150 elderly women who died when a massive fire destroyed the Eventide home for the aged on Slipen Road in Kingston on May 20, 1980. The fire remains one of the deadliest disasters in Jamaica's history. Local Government Minister Desmond Mackenzie says the observance serves as a reminder of the need to protect the nation's most vulnerable citizens. He notes that since 2016, the Andrew Olness-led administration has provided continued support to maintain and improve facilities caring for the elderly and indigent.
Since 2016, the government of Dr. Andrew Olness have ensured that the requisite support is made available to maintain our facilities. Over 46 billion Jamaican dollars have been spent by this administration since 2016 to improve the lives of the poor and destitute across Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, as a country, we are truly blessed and honored to be custodians of service for those who are in need.
Cabinet recently approved the official designation of May 20 as the National Day of Remembrance for the victims of the Eventide home fire, ensuring the tragedy and its lessons are never forgotten. In 2020, Minister Mackenzie described the Eventide fire as a defining moment in Jamaica's history, adding it helped to shape the country's approach to elderly care and social responsibility. Opposition spokesman on productivity, efficiency and competitiveness, Peter Bunting, is warning that delays in tabling the Integrity Commission report on the Firearm Licensing Authority could weaken Jamaica's anti-corruption framework. Bunting says the issue goes beyond the parliamentary procedure and could create a dangerous precedent where reports of public interest are kept from the public through court actions and delays.
Parliament is all parliamentarians, but with a special obligation on the opposition, because obviously we don't support the government, and we will not be compromised in criticizing and exposing any corruption, any abuse of power, any impropriety and irregularities. Reports like the ones tabled today that are reports related to relatively minor officials in the system, and usually for breaches of not filing on time. Those reports you will see come through without delay. But the ones that affect the big fish, the ones that expose impropriety or corruption, especially those that will embarrass the government, we really are in danger of action being brought.
In the meantime, CEO of the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority, Kelly Don Hamilton, says the newly launched Caribbean Special Economic Zone Association could help position the region to benefit from changing global trade patterns. Hamilton says the partnership will allow Caribbean countries to share resources, strengthen trade, facilitation, and improve how business is done across the region as countries compete for investment.
We have approximately 5,000 special economic zones operating across the world. And we have the World Free Zone Organization, which, note, they were very instrumental in the formulation of this Caribbean SEZ, because they understand that countries that have similar economic trajectories, similar bases, similar cultural heritage, etc., it makes sense for them to work together, to work through the issues that they may have where trade is concerned, where growing business is concerned.
And with that, we take a break here inside CVM News at Noon.
Day, we use our feet to walk, run, and take us places. But your feet can do something even more amazing. Join Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run Walk and make a stride to support KPH, the Falmouth Hospital, and Project STAR. Saturday, May 23 in Kingston and Saturday, May 30 in Montego Bay. Register at run2shineja.com or runningeventsja.com and see you at Guardian Group's Shine 5K Night Run Walk.
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Welcome back to CVM News at Noon. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica is sounding the alarm on a developing El Nino phenomenon that could severely impact the island's water resource and agriculture. Joining us now to speak about these shifting weather patterns is Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology at the University of the West Indies Mona campus and co-director of the Climate Studies Group Mona, Professor Tanisha Stevenson. Good afternoon, Prof. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Sir Orrit. Good afternoon to your viewers.
So for our viewers, hearing about this for the first time, can you explain what it is and how it typically affects countries like Jamaica? That's the El Nino phenomenon.
Sure. When you hear the term El Nino, all it is being used to describe is the warming of ocean temperatures, sea surface temperatures over the Pacific. Now, when we see these temperatures at the surface of our oceans getting warmer above a certain threshold, it tends to change circulation patterns globally. So it happens over the Pacific, but it looks far from us. But because it changes the way the wind flows, it impacts us in the Caribbean. What it does for us is that it changes the difference in up and low level winds. Simply put, that causes less rainfall for us. It causes us to get warmer over Jamaica, over the Caribbean. It means a reduced number of hurricanes that we experience within the hurricane season.
So the Meteorological Service says Jamaica has already started experiencing warmer and drier conditions. What signs are scientists currently seeing that point to a developing El Nino event?
So what scientists have been doing is they have been tracking the ocean temperatures over the Pacific, and the temperatures have been warming. And then scientists have also been running models to project, all right, where is this warming going in terms of intensity? And by the rate of warming we're seeing and what the models are projecting, we're shifting into an El Nino state, a warmer than average ocean surface over the next few months. And that is going to trigger more of what we're seeing right now.
So how concerned should Jamaicans be, though, about the possibility of reduced rainfall and drought conditions later this year?
We all should be paying attention to, because it speaks to water availability. It speaks to the possibility of us being hotter than normal. And so we need to be positioning ourselves to keep cool. We need to be positioning ourselves to ensure we have water in coming months. So we have to start the conservation. And so it will also impact on our foods and what foods may be available over the next couple of months. And so even our farmers need to be aware that we are likely going to have less rainfall available. And so as we choose the crops and choose what we plant going forward, we keep this in mind. So it is really important for us in Jamaica, and it is something we need to track, because it's gonna influence how much water and the levels of temperatures we have to treat with as we go forward.
And as we talk about the rising temperatures, what health concerns could emerge for vulnerable groups such as the elderly, children, and outdoor workers?
Exactly. So as our temperatures get higher, our police officers, our construction workers, the elderly, young. These are groups of persons who are more susceptible to hotter temperatures, heat stress impacts. And so we may have more persons turning up at our hospitals and clinics where we are having to treat the kinds of illnesses resulting from heat stress. And so it's important for us to safeguard our health, to stay out of where we can, avoid outdoors where we can. But just to say it's going to impact how we go forward over the next couple of months.
So the government has activated the National Drought Management Committee. From a scientific standpoint, how important is early preparation in situations like this one?
Oh, extremely important. Because if we're responding to reduced rainfall and we know that the levels of water or the amount of water that will be available to us in our dams, it means we need to start putting actions in place from now to ensure that our supply, there is some level of supply going forward. And so the meeting of that committee from now to start those kinds of plans is very crucial for us as a nation. It's going to be important for us in our homes. It's going to be important for the farmers. It's going to be important to our hospitals, our critical services. And so it's excellent that the committee has started meeting and is in preparatory mode for what could unfold for us across Jamaica.
There is still some uncertainty surrounding the strength of the event. How do meteorologists forecast and track a developing El Niño system?
So right now, what you'll find out is, for example, organizations like the World Meteorological Organization or our own Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology and our own meteorological service, what they're doing is they're tracking the temperatures over the Pacific right now. And they are also running the models that help us to project where this may be going. So what is happening right now is that as we track those temperatures, we notice that they're rising rapidly. And so it's speaking to the higher these temperatures go is the more intense the El Niño event that will unfold, the more intense the deficits and reductions in rainfall will unfold, the hotter the temperatures. And so meteorologists monitor these ocean temperatures to give us a sense of how intense this El Niño will be and therefore how intense the impacts may be for us.
Thank you so much for your input on that. That was Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Science and Technology at the University of the West Indies, Mona, and co-director of the Climate Studies Group, Professor Tanisha Stevenson. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you so much, sir.
In news overseas, global condemnation is brewing following a disturbing video posted to the internet by Israel's far-right national security minister. The video shows the minister taunting abducted Gaza aid flotilla activists as they were being mistreated by Israeli prison guards, sparking deeply negative feedback from various countries. We now turn to Al Jazeera for more.
Free Palestine! The governments of several countries, including Italy, France, the Netherlands, Australia, and Canada, have summoned Israeli ambassadors to condemn Israel's mistreatment of activists taken into custody from a Gaza aid flotilla. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir shared this video showing himself taunting them. It shows him shouting at the activists who are kneeling with their hands tied as officers stand nearby. The footage has sparked sharp criticism in the European Parliament of the lack of a proportionate response from EU leaders.
Are you going to lift a finger at any point to protect them? They are European citizens. What would you do if it were Iran? If it were Russia who stood in the middle of the Mediterranean to kidnap European citizens? But since it's Israel, you smile and look the other way.
Shame on you.
The activists were trying to break Israel's blockade of Gaza, which has remained in place despite the ceasefire agreed in October. They were detained when Israeli forces intercepted and stormed their vessels in international waters on Monday. With Israel's international image at all-time lows for its genocide in Gaza, Even Israeli leaders said Ben-Gvir had gone too far. Foreign Minister Gideon Sar posted on social media accusing Ben-Gvir of knowingly causing harm to Israel with what he called a disgraceful display. There was even a rare rebuke from the Prime Minister. While Benjamin Netanyahu maintained Israel was right to intercept the flotilla, he said Ben-Gvir's treatment of the activists was not in line with Israeli values.
It's now time for another break, but stay with us. Sports is next.